Hey, everybody, if you can hear me, if you're seeing us on Facebook, we're getting started with our Women Leaders of Love Own Your Worth Wednesdays live stream. We're just getting set up right now. Let me let some people in. We are so glad everyone is here. I see we're starting to have some people trickle in right now. I'm going to go ahead and hit the record button, and I want to invite you, as we're getting set up, to just take a moment and turn everything off. Turn your phone off, unless, of course, you're watching this. Turn off the TV, turn off the stereo, whatever keeps you distracted. I want to invite you to turn it off, because we're going to have a really cool conversation today, and then we're going to, I got to share something with you that's really awesome. So let me get this. So welcome to our Women Leaders of Love Own Your Worth Wednesdays. We are live streaming right now on Facebook, on my personal Facebook page, on LinkedIn, and I believe on Twitter. We have a whole streaming process going on here. Instagram, we were having issues with today, so sorry for those of you who missed it on Instagram. We will get back to that hopefully in the next week or so. So today we are going to be talking about gratitude, but in a different way than what we normally think of. We're coming into our Thanksgiving week next week. And so we always talk about being grateful for this, being grateful for that. But we want to be grateful for the crap too, right? We want to be grateful for all of it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And more than the crap, even more so, are the people who have been the messengers to your life. So often we get so buried in our victim mentality, thinking, well, they're doing this to me and they're doing that to me. And it becomes this real burden, right? It becomes you against me, and it's all about emotional angst and turmoil and what's wrong with me, right? We've had those experiences. And if you're like most of us, then it's something that can eat at you. It can really make you feel unworthy. If you feel that people are doing things to you, then you feel abused, you feel attacked, you feel as if you're not worthy of a kinder, gentler way of being. And we're trying to get rid of that, right? That's what we're trying to do in this Women Leaders of Love Own Your Worth Wednesday, where every week we are raising our worthiness quotient. We're opening up to truly stand in our truths and to allow love to flood in. That's what it means to have a high worthiness quotient, is to stand in your truth, no longer performing, no longer trying to get it right, but to allow love in, even when it looks like someone is being difficult in your life, okay? Because if they're coming into your life and you feel as if it's happening to you, it's still happening for you. Okay, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. It is a gift. And you'll hear me talk about this all the time, right? I'm always talking about seeing the gift, seeing the gift, seeing the gift. But when we can look at the people in our lives as gifts, thinking of them as in spiritual agreement, I talk about this a lot in my Worthiness Quotient program, is the spiritual agreement you have with people. Even my molester, who molested me when I was in high school, I can see the gift in him. I know that sounds crazy, right? That sounds absolutely insane. If I had stayed in that victim mentality, I would never have been able to see the spiritual agreement, to see the gift in that. But when I chose to walk a path of going deeper into loving myself and moving into alignment with the way I was created, I can see how this man played his part. And it's hard to get there, okay? It's really, really hard to get to that place. But when you can say, okay, if you were in spiritual agreement with me to play this part, even though it's awful, what could I learn from it? What could I take from this so that I can move deeper into loving myself? For me, with my molester, it was about taking back my power. It was about giving myself a voice. It was about really loving myself, because when you have something like that happen, you often feel like, oh, I'm to blame or I'm bad. So it was all of that. It was cleaning up all of that trauma. So people in your lives they're truly gifts. They bring you magic. They bring you miracles, whether they feel like the most awful person in the world or not, if you decide to see it as a gift. Okay. So, as I said, we're in this state of gratitude. We're going into next week is our Thanksgiving here in the US. And I know that a lot of times when we go into the holidays, it's as if, oh my gosh, I got to be around Aunt Bessie again, and she's going to tell me what's wrong with me. You know what I'm talking about, right? Well, that's what I'm talking about, is that you can see her as a gift to help you move deeper into loving yourself. So, we're going to dive into this in just a moment, but I just wanted to tell you something. I'm having so much fun right now because I have been embracing the gift for years. This week, this Friday is my 60th birthday. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I'm turning 60 this week. And my kids are here. They're actually downstairs watching a movie with my grandbabies here. And I'm just so excited. But even my family, okay, my family, we're in agreement. We're in spiritual agreement to learn from each other and to grow. I mean, there are some relationships that are healthier than others. There are some that you don't even have much of a relationship anymore. Thankfully, not with my kids, my girls. But you know what I'm saying is, like, there's going to be people in your life and your family that 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 you're not going to have a connection with, and that's okay. If you have judgment on it, then that's where you have to see them as a gift. So you have to say, okay, what are you showing me about myself? And I have to tell you, to be celebrating my 60th birthday this week, to be able to look at every person along the way, no matter how good, bad, or indifferent, and to see them as spiritual messengers, to go deeper into loving myself, standing in my truth, and aligning with the way I was created, that's where the joy is, that's where the abundance is. I am so grateful that I learned this. And my desire for you is to learn this too. Okay. My desire for you is to be able to embrace everything that comes your way, and every person, every spiritual agreement, as an opportunity to love yourself more, to go deeper, because that is where you start breaking the cycle, right? When you have somebody who treats you poorly, or as an abuser of some sort, or just is indifferent to you, which can also hurt very badly. If you have someone like that in your life, there's a tendency to think that I am the problem, that I need to stop all of this, right? I need to make it better. It's all my responsibility. And it's not. Those people are there to show you what you need to do to love yourself. That's your responsibility. That's your responsibility. Now, you have to get honest with yourself, right? If there is something that you need to take ownership in, by all means, take ownership, okay? Because it's important that we recognize our parts in situations. But what's also important is to recognize that you're not responsible for all of it. Okay, so think about that. In situations, in people, relationships that you have right now, think of one that's maybe tough. And as you think about that, do you put all the blame on yourself? Or do you put all the blame on the other person? Or is there somewhere in the center that maybe you say, well, this is their crap and this is mine? Because remember, if we have crap, we're being triggered, right? Our subconscious mind is being triggered. Our beliefs that are hidden are being triggered. Maybe they're not hidden, not always, but usually the hidden beliefs are being triggered. And it makes us feel bad about ourselves, and we don't understand why. And we want to blame that person, when in reality, it's a belief we're holding on to that is causing our pain and suffering. It's a belief that's not the truth. So I want you to think about this for a moment. Who in your life would you like to drop kick out of the room, right? Who would you like to just drop kick out of your life sometimes, because they make it hard? And think about that. It's really interesting when you start looking at it and you go, okay, so if I were to see this person as a spiritual messenger, What would be the gift? What would be the message? Interesting to think about, right? I had a friend who constantly got parking tickets. Well, I lived in Los Angeles and she got so many parking tickets and she was upset about it, right? Well, it was telling her that the person who showed up to give her the parking tickets, the cop, I mean, it was many, so it wasn't just one, but it was kind of this symbolism of one police officer giving her all these tickets. And it was like, what is the mirror? What's the mirror here? What is this person in spiritual agreement to show you? Well, she was parking herself. She wasn't moving forward. She was just making a choice to just park in the wrong place, and meaning not in a loving way for herself. So if she was parking in the right place, it would be doing something that was loving for herself, but she was parking in the wrong place. So the symbology there was showing her, get off your haunches and do what you're here to do, right? Quit being so hard on yourself. And so then she could see that these tickets, all of these tickets were actually a gift. And it's the same way with a person, as I said, in your life, maybe a family member. I think I've struggled the most with my mom because my mother suppressed herself. She she really did what she thought was the loving thing to do for my sister and me. And in doing so, she would lash out. She would get angry. Well, I took it as my core belief that I was the reason she had so much pain. Okay. I remember hearing that in my ear when I was doing a healing on her after she had a stroke. It said, "You're not to blame for your mother's pain." And I heard it again, "You're not to blame for your mother's pain." And so I had a belief that I was to blame for my mother's pain, but I wasn't. So when embraced that and began to look at it, I realized that I had taken on that belief, but it was more than that. So if you look at it, okay, so what's the real gift, right? What's the real gift in this spiritual relationship with my mother is that she played her part perfectly for me to get on my path, for me to help people stop blaming themselves, to start loving themselves, to own their worth. So when we can look at it that way, we begin to see people with the eyes of God, with the eyes of love, the eyes of acceptance. And we can embrace the situation. We can embrace whatever has happened and see it as this was my divine path. Okay, this was my divine path, and I'm going to say yes to it. Now, what's so cool about this is that as you love yourself and you raise your worthiness, right? Because unconditional love for ourselves is what raises our worthiness. As you love yourself and raise your worthiness, you get to have a little bit of a control over your path. Okay, you do. You get to have a little bit of control because now you're putting yourself in such a high vibration that things don't have to feel so hard. Because as you're in that high vibration, you're in that high worthiness quotient, you start attracting things to you that feel more loving and kinder and gentler, right? So when you're loving yourself, you do get to have a choice that it doesn't have to be quite so hard. And just by having the attitude of gratitude of saying, you know what, even if something does show up that feels awful, I'm going to embrace it. And I know on the other side of it, there's amazing love. So it's that attitude that shifts our lives. So you do have some control, right? You do have that by loving yourself. That's where you want to put your focus. You always want to put your focus in loving yourself and seeing everyone, every person as a spiritual messenger. So we're going to do a meditation today, and we're going to look at someone in your life who you have felt you want to just drop kick, right? You want to boot them out of the room. And we're going to look at them as a spiritual messenger, not just in, helping you see whatever the belief is you're holding on or onto, but where it's taking you. Okay, just like I said with my mom, my relationship with my mother has taken me to a place of helping people literally be the divine mother to themselves. That's so cool, right? So we're going to take it that next step further of how is this person helping you step into your path deeper. And you may not even know what your path is, but at least you'll get an inkling as to how they're helping you serve. So if you're feeling like, well, I am a stay-at-home mom and I don't know what my path is, well, right now your path is being a stay-at-home mom. But if you embrace the gift and you shift it, then you can be of service to your family, right? So if you're in the workplace, same thing. If you have a dynamic with someone that is really, really difficult, we're going to go within, see the belief that you've taken on, but we're going to see the present that they've given you so that you can step into your divine path. And you may say, well, I'm not on my divine path. Maybe just being how you interact with people every day at work is your divine path for right now. Maybe you're collecting pieces of the puzzle. Okay. When I look back at my television career and all the different things that I've done, I feel like there's this big puzzle, and each of those things that I did was a part of the puzzle. Okay. So nothing is negated. Nothing is negated. So let's do this. Let's jump in and see what we have going on here. I want to invite you to take a breath. Hold it and release. Take another deep breath. Hold it and release. Let's draw in the light of love, the light of abundance, the light of forgiveness, the light of peace and joy. Let's invite that into the crown of your head, visualizing opening up the crown. We're just going to take a moment to get grounded, allowing this light to flood in through your face, your neck, into your shoulders, down your arms, and out your hands. Breathing into this, going from the shoulders down into your chest. Then your ribs. And now your tummy. All the way into your hips. Just breathing into this, saying yes. Yes, yes, yes. Allowing that light now to flood down your legs. And out your feet. Checking in with your aura, the energy field around you, arm's length. Extend it out. Let that aura be at your about 2 or 3 feet out from your body, above you, below you, in front of you, and behind you. All the way around. You're sitting in a huge egg of energy. And then visualize on the outer edges of that egg of energy, right about the hip height, a column that goes all the way around you, your grounding column, your grounding cord, and send it down to the center of the earth. And now imagine you're so full of light that it's flooding into your aura. It's flooding on the outer edges, and everything that you're ready to release is being washed to the bottom of your aura. And then you can imagine opening up the bottom of your aura and sending it down that grounding cord. Sending all the energy back to the earth with love. Breathing into this. It feels so good to just relax into this. Now call in your inner child, that little kid, the little 5-year-old inside of you. Call that child in. And imagine this kid just sitting on your lap, giving her a hug, telling her you love her. For all you men, telling that little boy inside of you, Breathing in. Now, let's think about the person that you're struggling with the most. Maybe it's current, maybe it's been a long running difficult relationship, maybe it's something that just happened and you never even thought of it as being a bad thing. It's something that someone that you know that, oh wow, I know I'm in spiritual agreement with this person. You just have a sense. And I want you to just feel into this about how does your body feel when you're thinking about this person? Do you find yourself shutting down? If you're not really feeling like you're in touch with your body, you can even imagine your inner child and ask her how's she doing. Does she go into a fetal position? Does she get her fist up? How does she feel? And as you feel those feelings, let those feelings take you back. Let them take you back to the furthest memory, as we always do when we're doing the retrieving the gift of love process. Go back as far as you can in time to a similar situation. We just want to get to the belief. So when you get back in time and all these memories are flooding up, I want you to ask, what is the belief that is being triggered when I feel this way? What is the belief that is being triggered when I feel this way? And that belief usually comes from way far back. What is the belief that is being triggered? If you get stuck, remember, visualize opening up your crown. Don't grasp. Just breathe into a surrender. You can visualize your inner child handing you a manila envelope if you're having a hard time, and you can pull out a piece of paper and have a word on it that is symbolic of the belief, or maybe even a picture. So just ask, what is the belief that is being triggered? And once you get to that belief, let's put that in a rose. Imagine a big giant rose like a vacuum cleaner, letting the head of the rose pull that energy in. All that information in that rose. And then let's send that rose out into the universe and blow it up like confetti, sending it back with love. And as you sit in this space, let's continue to run energy through us. You can do gold, white, whatever rings true for you that you feel you want to call through your body to fill up those spaces that we just released. And now I want you to imagine that person that was sticking out in your mind. Okay. Now there may be many beliefs that are in direct relationship to this person that that you've been going through a spiritual journey with. So we did one today just to see what was coming up for you. You can do that over and over and over again to clear and clear and clear. But what I want you more right now to look at is, what is this person or this spirit, because it's really the spirit who's in agreement with you. What is this spirit telling you? What is it showing you about yourself? What is the gift in this relationship? So I want you to imagine that this person is in front of you, even if they're past, it doesn't matter if they're alive or dead. So I want you to imagine that this person is in front of you and ask, what is the gift you're giving me? and see what comes up. You might have a thought pop up. You might have a picture. If you don't understand it, ask, go deeper, show me another one. Another thing you can do is you can visualize this person handing you a pink present, one where the lid just pops up. It's got a big bow and the lid pops up. And you can imagine that you're putting your hand in the present and then you pull something out. What is the gift that you're being given in this spiritual agreement with this person? If you're struggling with this because there's a lot of emotion or anger, I want to invite you to look at your inner child and say, I get that you're angry. I get it. Okay. And you're probably angry with me as much as anything. But I just want to see what we're learning from this. How is it taking us deeper into our truths and into our calling, whatever that might be? So the anger is coming from your inner child so you can console that child. And then come back to ask the question, what is the gift? And if you were to say yes to this gift, how is it serving other people? Like if you said, I am going to receive this gift and let that energy flood into me, okay? I'm going to say yes to it. And then as you're allowing it to flood into you, you see yourself walking down a golden path, kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You're on your divine path. And I want you to get a kind of a sense of how you're helping others through this spiritual agreement. Are you maybe kinder and more compassionate, where you can hear people and you understand them? Is it taking you into a leadership role? What is the gift in this situation? Feel that energy moving into your body. Breathing into this. Mm. If you feel any emotion, allow that to come up. A lot of times, if we've had a ton of resentment or anger or blame towards someone and we start seeing the gift, it's like, whoo, there's a bubbling up. If you're feeling that, then let it bubble up. And now, finally, I want to invite you to go into gratitude. Just say thank you. Thank you for this gift. Thank you for helping me cross the divide of lack into loving myself deeper and to stepping further into my calling. Even if you're not clear on it at this moment, I want you to just say yes to it. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Letting that energy flood through your body and your being, just really allowing the energy of love and gratitude to infiltrate every cell. And letting that then move into your aura and your grounding. Breathing into this. And when you're ready, you can come back into this space. I love looking at spiritual agreements. The most difficult relationships in my life have been the most profound spiritual agreements. The ones that I have to say, oh my goodness, thank you for playing your part. Thank you. And what was so interesting is, I had a lot of judgment on myself growing up being mean. I'm mean. And then I had to look at my spiritual agreement with like my sister, okay? Because what part was I playing for her? It goes two ways. So that's huge when you can look at it that way. It's like, well, you're playing something for me to learn and grow, but what are you learning from me? Then it kind of takes away the guilt and the shame of the part you've played. And you can say, now I'm doing it differently. If I didn't like who I was back then, I've learned. And obviously, we were in agreement at that time to be in relationship with one another. And so now it's whether that person sees the gift in it or not, that's up to them. You can't control that. But you can control how you walk through your days. You can control how am I embracing it. So this is a powerful, powerful, powerful way to see relationships, to move beyond the 3D and really see people from a spiritual perspective, and to help you truly raise your worthiness. Okay. Truly, truly raise your worthiness, because when you can release the energy and see the gift and see that it's all part of the divine plan, it's huge, right? You just feel like, oh, okay, this is happening for a reason. I get it. I'm on point here. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And there's a huge release that happens with that. There's a huge state of forgiveness and love. Your heart expands open because you're seeing the spiritual agreement. So I want to open up to any questions we might have. I see we've got a few people on. For those of you on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can post your thoughts or comments, and then afterwards I will zip over there and answer them. Right now we're on a Zoom call. And if you would like to be on the Zoom call while anyone else is sitting here thinking about if they want to raise their hand, if you want to be on the Zoom call and you don't get our emails, you just go to terribritt.com/leaders, and you'll get my free Women Leaders of Love ebook and three guided meditations. And by getting that, you'll learn all about really your worthiness and also why it's so important to be a woman leader of love. And then you'll be added for our next session when you get the Zoom link so you can ask questions. Also, while we're waiting, and for anybody who wants to raise their hand that's on the call, there's a reaction button at the bottom, and you click it. And I think this is on my computer. I don't know what it looks like on the phone, but on the computer, and then they'll say raise hand, and you can raise your hand. Also, feel free to put something in the chat if you got something out of that meditation or you have a question you want to ask it. I would love to be able to respond to it, because this is where we do laser coaching and healing. And I love to be able to look at you guys, look at your energy, see what's going on, help you through that. If you had something that came up for you in that meditation, or if there's something else in your life that you want to ask about, this is your time. But I also want to share with you this. I told you earlier that it's my 60th birthday this week. And you always hear me talking about my Worthiness Quotient program. It's a digital program. It's got 18 meditations that are the core meditations, the issues that I see that keep us from really living in a state of self-love, because it's in that state of self-love that we let love in, right? So we resist and allowing ourselves to receive energy and beautiful abundance. So it's 18 meditations to help you really break through that stuff so that you can feel so empowered. Well, I just got this hit this morning. I was hiking with my my kids and my grandbaby. We did a little hike, and I thought, you know what? It's my 60th birthday, and I'm never going to turn 60 again. It's a big deal. So I am going to knock 60% off of this course just until Friday night. My birthday's Friday. So it's, if you go to terribritt.com, and I'll write this down for those of you on the Zoom, it's just www.terribritt.com/worthy. And you go there, and then you'll see a little thing that says you have a coupon, and you can put in 60 off. I think is what we said, 60 off, like a 60 off. And that's going to take the price from $297 down to $118.80. You're never going to get it this cheap again. And I know you guys really want to go deeper into loving yourselves. And what's so interesting, people might say, well, I've been loving myself, and, I'm trying to do this for a long time. I have seen people who are just starting out do this course have huge breakthroughs. And I've seen people who've been doing it for years have huge breakthroughs. In fact, one of the women I know, she did it during the pandemic. She did the course, and she's a shamanic practitioner. And she did it during the pandemic, right at the beginning, because her business laid everybody off. And she ended up carrying the whole company that month because of doing my course. She says, I just put all my focus on your course and didn't focus on business, and business came flooding in, and she carried the whole company, which was really cool. So she was at a high vibration. She was loving herself, and she let love in, and it came flooding in a big way. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Again, it's 60 off. I wrote it. Did I write it in here? Let me see. 60 off, and it's not case sensitive. So just 60 off, and it's all together. There's no spacing, and it expires Friday night at midnight. So I want to invite you to grab that if you haven't done it already. I mean, you cannot self-love and raising your worthiness and having these meditations that I've seen over 20 years go deep into your subconscious mind is huge. Really, really, really huge to have somebody guide you through it. So let me see if there's any questions. Anybody? I'm going to call on someone. You don't have to jump on if you don't want to, but Anne, your name has been sticking out to me this whole call. And I'm going to ask if you want to jump on just to talk for a second. If you want to unmute, I can unmute you, or I think you have to do it. Are you there?
Yes,
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Oh, I felt a lot of energy from you. It was nearly too much.
Oh, so you were letting love in.
It was very strong. And I'm so happy to meet you because I'm so happy with all your videos. It's really helping me.
Oh, yay. So where are you located?
I'm in Belgium.
Oh, welcome. We're so glad you're here. So do you have any questions about today or anything that I can help you with?
Yeah, I am. I have a very hard time, but it seems to be my whole life that I struggled a lot, and I always seem to be in places like my home where there is a lot of attack against me, so much that I even have my basic needs as if they are not allowed.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yes.
So when you think about that, so first off, just so you understand, that is a sign of punishment energy.
Yes.
Punishment, abuse.
Yes.
And usually when we're running abuse energy, when we're emitting that vibration, then we're feeling guilty or ashamed about stuff in our subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind runs 95% of your life. If you are attracting energy that feels like punishment, then you have a belief that says, one, you deserve punishment, but two, it might be that there's something that you feel is wrong with you.
Yes.
Okay. So you would agree with that. Okay. So when I say that to you, what is the earliest memory that comes up for you that feels like there was something wrong with me or I deserve punishment? Were you punished?
I felt totally neglected,
Okay.
as if there was nobody to connect with. But and in a kind of regression, I was in the womb, and um, I said I had to speak, and all the things I said. Uh, it said that I was a blood machine that has to clean the blood from my mother. And yes, and it was only afterwards that I thought, but yeah, that is what happens in the womb. The blood of the mother is going through the body of the baby. So and it was felt like so much work to get it all in, and to have to clear that there was nothing else that could give me uh, the that seems like the only reason that I existed, or that I was allowed to exist, to do that for my mother. And now I often it always feels like stuff of other people comes in my body, and it makes me sick, and I can't do anything, and suffer a lot. And it is like I have to process it for them, for the other people.
Hmm. So you took on a belief, it sounds like you have to be like the processor. It feels like you took on this. Can I look at your energy for a moment and just see what I see?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. Let me just see what I see. And because I know this is really deep for you and very heavy.
Yes,
So let me just kind of get a glimpse into your energy. So I'm going down into your grounding. Okay. So this is like your foundation. And a lot of times I'll see a trap door. So I lift the trap door and I go deeper. Right.
yes,
And what I see is a family album. And this is symbolic.
yes.
Okay. So what it feels like is that you come from a line of healers.
Yeah, maybe.
And okay, so healers meaning you can take on energy, take on energy, take on energy, take on energy. It's like it's something that is very natural to you, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
why,
can't help doing it. Yes,
yeah. So that's why in the womb, it was you felt like you were just you were there to heal. I'm here to heal. I'm here to heal. I'm here to heal. And so now in your waking life, you are still doing that.
yes,
So I'm going to just look at your energy, go further in this and say, okay, so the contract that I'm seeing is you have one that says you have a contract that says I have to do it alone,
yes,
okay? And I'm seeing that in your crown. So
yes.
it says I have to do it alone. So I'm just going to ask if you're ready to be done with it. And I get you're ready to be done with that. That's why I called on you today, because
Yeah,
you're ready to be done with this,
yes,
right? So we're going to take that contract and we're just going to stick it out here to the side for a second and ask that to sit right there. And then I'm seeing in the back of your heart chakra, there's some plug of energy. So what's happening is I'm pulling this energy out on your heart chakra, and it feels kind of like the blood you were talking about. It
yes.
feels heavy. Okay. It feels thick. It feels like I don't know how to explain it any more than that. So let me just drain that out and see what's underneath it.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. So let's see what's there. So part of the healing that your family took on, I mean, being healers, is there's this running theme that has come through that says, I'm not worthy of being loved and nurtured because I have to do all the love and nurturing.
Yes. I
Okay.
realize that very much.
Very much so. And as a healer, even if you are sitting next to someone on a train,
Yeah.
okay, or a bus, that you, maybe even if you don't even realize it,
Mhm.
you are doing like energy. You're taking their energy on, you're transmuting it, you're doing all of this stuff. Is this making sense?
Yeah, very much.
Okay.
And that's why I live very isolated since 20 years.
Okay.
And often uh, the way I talk to people, or when I'm talking, and um, I can't, um, when I'm nervous, when I'm with a person that doesn't feel that there is something that I feel that needs healing, or that is not open to what is inside them, then I, I talk and talk and talk. I can't, and the way I talk make them very uncomfortable.
Mhm.
They are very they hate me, and I don't know, because now I search so much for help, because but people didn't see my despair. They I think they saw my strengths. And
Mhm.
then I thought, I have to help these people. They feel that I have to help them, and they can't help me. But now, since a short time, I it seems like I have someone that can help me a bit, and I feel it with you too. So I'm so
Good.
grateful. Yes,
Well, let me tell you what I'm hearing. You have gotten your value, your worth from
yes.
healing people.
No,
From you in your subconscious mind through your lineage says, I get value, I get my worth. It's kind of like some people, wives of, the 50s and 60s and stuff, they got value from how clean their house was. If my house is clean, then I'm worthy of your love, right?
yes,
The same idea.
yes,
Okay. So you, through your family lineage,
yes,
has had a belief that said, I can't be loved, I can't be nurtured because I have to do it for everybody else, right? But you have gotten your value. It's almost like you can't turn it off,
yes,
because
yes.
if I turn it off, then you might not love me. And that's why you start talking to someone when you don't feel like they have any healing that needs it. You start talking and then they don't like you because you're trying to control it. Like, see, let me heal you, let me heal you, let me heal you. Right?
Um, yeah, yeah,
But you're not saying it. It's just, it's an underlying intention. I don't think you're saying, let me heal you. Okay.
yeah,
It's like the underlying intention.
yes,
So I want to challenge you.
yes,
Okay. I want you to start doing a daily exercise where you're around someone. I want you to get out. Okay.
yes,
Because it's not, you said you've been very isolated for 20 years. You
yes,
don't have to be isolated because you are powerful enough to be able to shift the energy. If you've
yes,
been listening to this stuff, you can see, well, I can shift the energy. So I want to invite you to maybe go into public transportation or go walking down the street. And I really want you to practice how bringing in energy, your energy, okay? So bringing in the light of God, light of love, filling your aura around you and walking and consciously being aware of, am I taking on someone's energy? Am I, trying to absorb it? And if you find that you are, I want you to literally just send it back to them, going,
yes,
nope, I'm not going to be the healer today.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not the healer today. And I want you to practice this like for the next 40 days.
Yes.
Okay, just being very, very aware, because it's about knowing that you are a healer,
Hmm.
but doing it when you want to do it,
Yes.
not feeling like you have to do it so
Mhm.
that you have worth.
Yes.
Right? Are we on the same page here?
Yeah, very much. And it seems like I even have to offer my body and everything to other people. It's
Yeah, you don't. So
no, I
no. So I
no.
really I want you to think of it as setting energetic boundaries.
Yes.
Okay. And this, you guys, this is a wonderful conversation before, because here in the States, we're having Thanksgiving next week.
Yeah.
And so people, all the families come together, and there can be those who just feel like they suck your energy, and that you, or if you are a healer and you feel like I'm always taking on people's energy, we use the term empathic, then it can be the same thing. So for me, what I like to do is if I'm at a family gathering and I'm feeling any kind of weird energy, I go to the bathroom
Yes.
and I drain the energy off of me. I call my energy back. Okay. And I just stay grounded in that. But for you, I really want to invite you and anybody else who this resonates with is to take the daily steps of getting out
Yes.
and making yourself safe. Also, having the conversation with the little kid inside of you, little Anne, because she is the one who, at an early age in the womb, took on the belief that I have to do the healing, right?
Yeah.
It's this lineage thing. So you can tell her, you have my permission to not heal anybody or anyone. I love you,
Hmm.
whether anyone else does or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So by building this relationship, you're
Hmm.
finding the love within,
Hmm.
and you don't need to perform through being a healer.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions on that?
Um, yeah. Today, the past days, I went outside, but then I g- went to a chapel, and then I uh, went to somewhere where people were meeting people that I didn't know, and you could sit there and connect with them. And there were four people, and there were three people that I think were very kind and nice.
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid of one person, and I thought, oh no, it's happening again. And I already felt she attacking me, making me small. She didn't do that moment, but I was afraid, and I thought, oh, what do I have to do with this? Why again? Can't Now I can't go there neither. So why
Yes,
does
you
this
can.
person show up
Yes, you
again?
can. Yes, you can go there. If you
Yes.
feel it, you can actually just talk to her spirit.
Yes.
So when you feel somebody's energy coming, like courting you, because they're
Mhm.
like sending an energetic cord to you, you can just literally be talking to someone and move the cord out like I'm talking right now. And you can be sending her a message as I'm talking to you, because I can have a conversation in my head. We always do that, right? And you can be saying to her spirit, you know what? I'm here and I'm willing to have a conversation with you, but I'm not willing to take on your energy. And you are not allowed to attach your energy to mine, and you can
Yes.
just move it out. You are that powerful. See, what's happening is the way that you have been raised through the generations, just by watching, and I don't even know if it was ever shared with you this way. You watched this happen with family members. You've watched it. It's been handed down through the generations, and you didn't even know you were watching it. Okay, this is what we
I
do.
don't understand.
And yeah, we don't even know we're doing it, right? We don't know that maybe we have a family member who's a healer and they're trying to fix everything or whatever. It could be that, or it could have been a teacher, but it feels like it came through the generations for you. And but you, it's almost like there's a victim mentality here that says, I have no choice. But you
Mhm.
have a choice in every moment. on whether you take on the energy or not. Like, for instance, when I get off of here today, off of this call, I will sit and I will release the cords
Yeah.
because we're connecting, we're talking. It's really easy for people to want to like have, my energy. And I'm actually here because I'm like, okay, I'm here intentionally being in a healing space. However, I'm not willing to give up my energy. So when we're done, I'll check in and say, okay, did I take on someone's energy? I'll send it back to them. I'll call my energy back. And half the time, I don't even remember the conversation because I clear the energy so well.
Yes. But with you, it feels good because I feel that you have good boundaries, and that makes me feel safe.
So see, you can do the same thing.
What's
So you can create the same boundaries.
yeah? You
Okay.
you connect,
So let
but
me,
keep your boundaries. So does it feel to me?
so my boundaries come from, I don't need you to love me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I've worked a long time on that little girl inside of me, loving her, being the divine parent to her, opening up to allow the universe to support me. So I have come to a place where I used to be a person who wanted to save everyone and everything and be good because
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was what was going to give me love, but it didn't make me feel loving. Right. So I really walked through that. I have my moments. I mean, I'm human, right? But I don't do it like I used to. So that's a strong boundary because I'm looking for my love in here rather
Mm-hmm.
than out here. That's a
Yes.
huge boundary, right? And then also just recognizing that as I continue, like the whole time we've been talking, I've just been letting the love flood in, my love, the love from the universe to really feel supported and nurtured. So that is huge for me. If you walk through each day, you can open up your crown, let the light come in, really feel your space, your aura, and your grounding. And it's like you're this column of light walking around. Yeah, people may want to connect to you and attach to you, but you can just say, nope, 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 nope. Another thing you can do, and I don't use this tool, I learned this in energy school back in the 90s, is they would visualize mirrors around you that were reflecting out so that if energy came at you, it would be reflected back to the person. So you might try that.
I feel better with the energy
Letting
flowing
it,
in. Yes.
yeah. I do too. I just because it's like it's there, right? And it
Yeah, and
feels,
it's from me, and it is not aggressive, and
yeah,
yes.
it's so loving, and it's
But
so and
yeah,
puts you in a present state. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. I have now the feeling that I have to do the exercise that you do, and for the rest, try to keep to that it's good to be a lot of on my own now, and not being nurtured, and also only loving people around me uh,
Mhm.
that also are nurturing a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So the
Yeah.
the thing is that like if you do like I talk about talking to the inner child and really raising your worthiness, you are nurturing yourself. And in that state of treating yourself as if you're seen, heard, and valued, because you are, because you're doing it for yourself, you're putting yourself in a high vibration. And now you're going to attract things to you that feel loving and nurturing and supportive.
Yes.
When you're in the hiding space, and that if that rings true for you, if you are meant to be a monk and you are happy being in your space and you're at a high vibration, that's fine. But I get you like people. I do. You like people. And
I like to connect with people. Yes.
yeah, so you're not supposed to be isolated.
No, no.
You just need to use the tools, right? To just get yourself in a grounded space and love that little kid and know
Yes.
that love is here. I don't have to save the world. That,
Yes.
it really comes down to people should be saving themselves.
Mhm.
They should be doing the inner work,
Mhm.
loving themselves, raising their worthiness. I don't know if you know who Dr. Joe Vitale is. He was in The Secret, the book The Secret, and the movie The Secret. And he was on my radio show. I had a radio show a couple years ago, and he said three things because he was talking about money that day. He says people that have issues around money, he said they have to look at their money beliefs. and they have to look at if they feel bad about themselves. And he says, and they have to look at their worth. And he says, self-worth was key to everything. And to me, money issues are just a symptom of self-worth.
Yes.
And being bad is part of self-worth. It's
Yes.
like, if you feel like you're bad, you're not going to feel worthy.
No.
So owning our worthiness is key to everything you want. And that means every time I love myself, every time I communicate with myself, every time I create a boundary, every time I talk to that little girl inside of me and love her, I am owning my worth. And so that's what we're doing on these calls each week. But I just really want you to know that you are that empowered, and you are that empowered. And because you're a healer, which is so cool, is that if you will harness this power, then it can really help you step into a divine path as a healer if you wanted to go that direction. If you felt called to do that. But you'd be doing it on your terms, not because you're trying to win love, but you'd be doing it as an act of service, because that is what you were calling, is that's where you're being called to go.
Yes.
Makes sense?
Thank you so much.
So make sure you listen to the recording so you can go back and listen to this, okay? I want to do one last thing because we had a contract out here, so I just want to see if it's ready to be done. I'm getting that it's really ready to be done, so we're going to drain the energy off of it. And I want you to imagine that all the energy is drained off of it. And I do see some, what is this energy that I'm seeing here? Feels like guilt energy. There's a part of you that feels like I haven't done enough and I need to do more. No, we're going to nix that. Okay. So that's you being a light. You create, like you said, you felt my boundaries. You said you felt loving boundaries. Is that not a gift to you to see that it's possible?
Yeah, it's a gift. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can do the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So no guilt. No guilt. When you can create that kind of boundary and that kind of loving energy, you are showing other people how to do the same. And everybody needs that. We want to make our energy field our energy field. So we're standing in our truth, because that's where the joy is, right? But if we have everybody else's energy inside of our space, that's why we get into confusion.
Yeah.
Right?
So
I need to be in my energy. I need to be in how I was created. So know that as you practice these tools on a daily basis, you're going to be that example for others.
I hope so.
Okay? You will be. You will be. Thank you so much for being here today. So I'm going to ask you to mute yourself. So we're going to wind up with a little mini meditation. And once again, celebrate my birthday with me. As I said, I'm turning the big 6-0 this Friday, the 19th. And if you want these tools that really take you deep and help you get grounded, building your spiritual tool chest, you can go to terribritt.com/worthy and then put in 60 off. And you'll get it for like $118. It's nothing. I just felt like I want to celebrate. So why am I going to celebrate by giving people this opportunity where maybe they can't do it otherwise? And then for those of you on the Facebook and all the different live streams, you can go to terribritt.com/leaders if you want to be a part of the Zoom call, so you can ask questions and have coaching like Ann just did today. So let's just finish up with this meditation, closing our eyes, taking a breath, holding it and releasing. Let's do that again, taking another deep breath, holding it and releasing. So in the essence of what we were just talking about, I want you to visualize right now that everyone's energy that you could have possibly taken on right now, even if you feel like, well, I didn't talk, maybe I've taken on energy from other people today. I want you to imagine that there's this beautiful rose. We always use roses, symbolic of love. And imagine that everyone's energy is being taken into this rose like a vacuum cleaner. It's pulling all the energy away from you that is not yours. And I want you to even imagine every cell in your body opening up all of the energy in your muscles, your blood, your tendons, your bones, your organs. Everything is opening up, and any energy that is stuck in your body is moving out into this rose. Anyone's energy that is not yours. And then let's do the same with your energy field around you. So taking that energy and putting it into that rose. Put that in there. And now imagine that there's this big cheesecloth over your aura, okay? Because this can be other people's energy. So we're going to pull it off and put that into the rose. This rose is getting really huge, just like a dump truck. And then we're going to go into your grounding. And let's just drop your grounding cord that you have right now. Let it just be pulled into the center of the earth. Create a new, brighter, fresher one. You can always do this when you're taking on other people's energy. And then, but let's just even go down to the center of the earth where that trap door was, and let's clear out any energy there for anybody. Anybody who's got some energy there, let's clear out anything that is someone else's. Put that in that rose. And now let's send it out into the universe and blow it up like confetti. So we've gotten rid of everyone else's energy. And now I want you to imagine this big, beautiful pink bubble above your head. And in it is a magnet. And that magnet is now drawing your energy back to you. So imagine everywhere you've left your energy. If you felt like you had to heal someone, if you've had, conversations with people, if you're just being there for everyone, I want you to call your energy back into this pink bubble, and you might see it getting really, 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 really big. And as it gets so big and you get it so full, I want you to imagine that it's now pouring into the crown of your head, and it's flooding over into your aura, on the inside of the aura and on the outside of the aura. And you are so full that it's now going down to your feet. Every cell that you opened up earlier is filling up with your energy that you've called back from the people around you, from the universe. It is all coming down, and it's now going down your grounding to where you are fully connected. You are standing in your truth. Breathing through this. One more time, one more deep breath. Feels so good. When you're ready, you can come back into this space. So thank you for being here. Sydney said your birthday is the beginning of your own personal new year. Your first birthday was a beginning, and each new birthday is a chance to begin again, to start over, to take a new grip on life. Wilfred Peterson. Thank you, Sydney. I knew that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that. You guys have a wonderful day. And remember, this 60% off sale goes until Friday night. So you just go to terribritt.com/worthy and then put in the coupon code box 60 off, and it's all squished together. It's not, there's no spacing. So I hope you'll take advantage of that and do this course, because it is a life changer. Love you guys. And wait, next week is the day before Thanksgiving. We are not going to have a session next week. So I'm just going to put that out there right now. So we will not have one next week, and we will start again the first week in December. Bye, everybody. Love to all.